Hello, hello. Hi, guys. Woo. Welcome, welcome. I'm so excited for tonight. I'm going to share with you tonight something that has been gnawing at me all day long. And so if you are just joining, I have Instagram over here, have Facebook here. Why? Because I don't want to do this twice. And so I'm happy to be able to go live and do both tonight. I don't have a guest on tonight, so it actually works both ways. So if you see me going either way, turn that down some. That's because I am paying attention to both screens as much as I can. As much as I can. And I don't like to be very long. I'm just going to wait just another minute while people are getting notifications to hop on. Otherwise, if you guys are catching a replay, just stop by and say hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that I'm able to do this tonight. Woo. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. All right. So I'm just going to vibe out for just a minute. It's been a day, y'all. Hello. Hey, Juan, thank you for joining. Hey, Jeremiah, welcome. Hello, guys. I'm going to give just a couple more seconds before I get started. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for joining me tonight. Hello, hello, Facebook. Welcome. So again, if you're just coming on, I have both Instagram and Facebook up because this is something that has been gnawing on me all day. And I don't want to do this twice, but I feel like it's so beneficial to so many. And so let me just share a little backstory with you how much this thing has been like at me all day long. And I tell you guys, no lie, when I say I did not want to go live today, I did not want to go live today. But here's the thing. It's Sunday. I had a very busy week. I had a very busy Saturday, running around like a crazy person. And hey, Juan, hey, Ty, thank you for joining. And so the last thing I wanted to do today, and I wasn't feeling too good, right? I wasn't feeling too good, but there was a message, there's a voice. We know what it is, right? God is literally telling me, you have got to say something. And so because I kept resisting it, it kept coming up. So the things that you resist will persist, right? So much so that I attended a play tonight for 3 hours with my daughter at her college. I sat in an auditorium for 3 hours, and it was at that time that I decided to put up a little note on Instagram, to put up a little post on Facebook and ask, will you join me live? Because this thing would not leave me. Thank you for joining, Jamal. Welcome. And so tonight, I want to just dive right in, right? So I gave you all that backstory of what led me to go live tonight. And because I am obedient, right? See, this is what happens when you operate in obedience. You have to do what you're being told. I follow instruction. A lot of people want to complicate this thing. How are things going? So how are you able to? I follow instruction, right? Every day God is speaking to you. Every day God is telling you that what to do, right? And oftentimes we reject it, or we at least try to resist it. And when you disobey, then you wonder why you end up in situations that you are ending up in, right? So tonight I want to talk about some things that I think that is very, 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 I can't stress that word enough. Very mucho importante. Very important, okay? Okay, so I think about, I always tell people, I don't have to pull from anybody else's experience. I don't have to tell nobody else's business. I've got my own, right? And so one of the biggest things that I feel like is so important to our people, I've got to say that, is because oftentimes when we are faced with situations, circumstances, crisis, trials, things that come into our lives, and we don't necessarily know what the purpose of that thing is for, right? But I will tell you that it's always for you to be the answer to something for this generation. So God is going to give you experiences for you to be a catalyst, for you to be the answer to that thing that has been brought to your life. And if you don't believe me, take some inventory of what's going on in your life and see in ways and areas that God has positioned you in ways that you could be effective, and maybe you haven't been, or maybe you have been. But again, put me to the test and see if what I'm saying is right? So with that said, now I tell you, I don't have to pull from anybody else's experience. I've got my own. So tonight, what I want to talk about, which I said is so very, very important, is we think about death. I don't think we think about it enough. It's so crazy because we experience it every single day. And if you live around where I live, and you're watching things happen every single day, it seems as though there's another shooting, there's another family impacted, there's another carjacking, there's all kind of things happening, right? So we live in an area where we are highly impacted by death all the time. And yeah, I got to tell you this. Stop sending me videos of people being shot, okay? I can kind of guess what's happening without seeing footage of someone losing their life. And for the news outlets who are posting that publicly, like, that absolutely says a lot. That was a side note. It was an important side. It had to be said, but I'm saying it now. Has nothing really too much to deal with what I'm talking about. The biggest thing that I've noticed, the biggest mistake that people make is thinking that they have more time. And you don't have more time. Time is a very limited resource. Time is so limited that you don't even know, right? You don't even know when your time is up. You don't get extra time. People ask me all the time, how do you get all these things done? I prioritize things. I don't have extra time. We all have the same amount of time. So with that said, what I've noticed is there are some very difficult conversations that need to be had, but haven't been had because people are uncomfortable about addressing this. And so let's talk about life insurance, because this is a thing that's very, 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 very important. When you think about life insurance, and if you guys are interactive, go ahead and type in the comments. Yes, I see it. Hey, Ty, thank you. Yes, think about life insurance, right? One thing that is promised to us, and I'm not a life insurance salesperson, I'm really not. But after you hear what I have to say today, your eyes will be open, and maybe this will change things for you, right? Because I'm all about reframing and at least changing perspectives or giving you a different outlook or outtake on things, right? So you have your medical insurance in case you get sick or you need to visit a hospital or whatever the case is. You have insurance there to help you with your health care, right? That's called your medical insurance. Everybody has that. Am I right or wrong? Most people have it. There are some people that work in healthcare, so there are some people who are uninsured medically. So we have health insurance to make sure that we have benefits in place for when we need to visit the doctor or in case something comes up, right? You also may have renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance, right? In case something was to happen to your place, God forbid, it would have burned down. So you utilize or be broken into, or whatever the case is, a natural disaster, you have homeowner's insurance to protect your assets or to protect your things and help you with gaining residence, right? So that's it. You have your car insurance. God forbid this were ever to happen where you were in a car accident. You know, we know things, that's why they call it an accident, right? We don't expect it to happen, but it does. But you have your car insurance in place, and car insurance is so important that you get hit with hefty fines if you don't have car insurance and you're caught driving. That's how important car insurance is, right? But then we have this thing called life insurance. And life insurance, the term itself is so deceiving, right? Because if you say insurance, that means, right, it's coverage for if something happens. But here's the thing. If you die, you can't undie. It's not like you can use your insurance to undie yourself, right? So it's not really a protection plan for your life. And this is why I said the term life insurance is very deceiving. And this is why I wanted to give this message. This is the message that God has been giving to me all day to deliver to you. And hopefully you can take this with you. So what life insurance essentially is, and should be renamed, is a income replacement protection plan. And I say that because, and walk with me, y'all, if something were to happen to your spouse, you have a life insurance policy in place because you are now replacing the income that your wife or husband was bringing into the home. It covers your funeral expenses sometimes. It may cover a host of things, right? And I'm going to be honest with you again, I don't want to pull from nobody else's stuff. When I was a very young mom, my son is 22 now. I remember going home at 19 years old. I had Rashawn when I was 19, and just a baby, with a baby. You hand me this baby, and I got to go home with this baby. But in this folder that they gave me from the hospital was a Gerber life insurance plan. And in my young thinking, right, because none of this was passed down to me, the knowledge that I would need to take care of this young child, in my thinking, I got the policy, but after a while I was like, why am I getting insurance for my baby? I don't want to get it if he goes. You know, it was so hard to even think about. Hindsight is so crazy, y'all. We're not even talking about Aaliyah yet, okay? But the thinking was, why would I want to have a life insurance policy for my baby? Well, I am here to tell you, now enters Aaliyah. So here's the thing. Having life insurance policies for your entire family, as a good manager of your family, you are protecting yourself, being a responsible adult. I will tell you this. When you lose a child, you are not returning back to work. Not right away, right? And so if you have had this experience, God forbid it, and I know it's a lot of moms that I speak to, I interact with all the time, but they could even attest, if you lose a child, the last thing on your mind is anything else. You know, and again, from my own personal experience, as responsible as I am, even paying things on time wasn't a priority to me anymore, right? Everything was just so dark and cloudy and those kind of things. So what you need that insurance policy for is to help you get through these stages for, God forbid, anything were to happen. Now, again, I pull from my own stuff. I did not need to have any kind of compensation from the Crime Victims Fund. Why? Because I did have a policy in place for my family, not thinking that I would have to ever use accidental insurance. It turns out a mass shooting happens to fall under accidental insurance. Who knew? Who knew this would even be a part of my language as I'm speaking to you? But it is. It is. And I want to tell you, we find ourselves in these awful positions because we did not prepare. And many agencies, many businesses, they benefit off of taking advantage of you in your highest emotional state. And what is the highest emotional state you could ever be in is loss or grief from losing a loved one, right? So we know funeral homes are making big bucks. You know, other companies are making a lot of money off of people in their most vulnerable states. You have your life insurance policies in order that will help to cushion you. And I say this because what we're seeing today is everyone is so dependent on someone else helping them with XYZ, you know. So you have all of these GoFundMes, and this is something that, you know, we never talk about death and life insurance and having these protections in place, because it's a very uncomfortable conversation. Here's the news. It's just like talking about sex with your kids. You don't want to do it, but you better do it to make sure that they're prepared for the world, right? So again, you have these uncomfortable conversations because as the manager of your family, it is important that they know that just, this is the responsible thing to do. You want to protect yourself. You want to protect your family. Now, on another note, I think about this too because I have to say this. In the Bible, it tells you in Hosea 4, chapter 4, 6, my people are destroyed due to lack of knowledge. And many people just leave it there and they just, period. I mean, there's a semicolon. My people are destroyed due to lack of knowledge. Well, if you continue reading, it will tell you that because you have rejected knowledge, I will reject you. Now, that's the thing. It wasn't that the knowledge wasn't there. It wasn't that the information wasn't available. It's because people rejected using or seeking knowledge. Does that make sense? And we wonder why some of us are further along than others, or why the wealthy are able to attain certain assets because they have the knowledge, the secret, the keys that people are rejecting learning. And so that is the message that I wanted to get out tonight. I think about all the time, as much as we play around with life, you really, really, really don't have an infinite amount of years, right? You don't have all the time that you think you're going to have. So what do you do while you're here? You are the most effective as you can be while you are here on the earth. So that is all I wanted to share tonight. I'm so thankful that we got this out because it now can leave me alone. If you guys have any questions about anything, I am an educator at my core. If you haven't been around me long enough, then you should know this by now. The devil loves to play in your ignorance. Wherever you have lack of knowledge, that is his playground. And so the more you educate yourself, and there is literally no excuse because information today is vast and is easily accessible, and you don't have to wait for somebody to teach you. Learn as much as you can, continue to grow. The more you grow, the more you know, the more you grow, right? So continue to be awesome and amazing. And I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.